Hey, this is Ty Miller on the Portfolio Strategies team here at Five Plan Partners, and thanks again for joining us for another educational insight. Today's focus is going to be on GDP, which equals population growth plus productivity, but then AI, the next leg. So today I'll be discussing GDP and our need for enhanced productivity. GDP, or gross domestic product, is how we measure growth in the country. The factors that make up GDP are consumer spending, fixed investment, housing, inventories, net exports, and government. We have traditionally relied on the consumer to make up about 70% of GDP. And then we also have real GDP and nominal GDP. So nominal GDP is the growth without factoring inflation, and real GDP is the better measure, which is after inflation. This chart measures GDP by decade going back to 1901. It's two columns because the reporting agency changed, but it is the same data. As you can see, we used to hover around that 2.5% growth mark. However, since about 2011, we've been closer to 1%. Why is that the case? Well, GDP is influenced by population growth and productivity. As you can see in this chart, which measures total population growth, our population growth has largely stayed below 1% since 2007, aside from one or two outlier years in 2022 and 2023. The red bar of this chart is net immigration, and the blue bar is births minus deaths. This is a pretty common theme worldwide amongst developed countries. So how do we get back to a 2.5% growth rate? Well, we'll need enhanced productivity. This can be where AI steps in. I know that AI has a lot of people fearful for their job security, but if we can find a way to have each person be more productive, that can be something a lot easier to fix rather than trying to increase the population overnight. Now, on the job front, I did want to highlight a few cases of why AI might not necessarily lead to increased unemployment. First, let's take Jevons paradox. This basically says that as a new technology efficiency is introduced, the total consumption of that product or service actually increases, not decreases. So what's that mean in plain English? Well, take this chart. As ATMs were introduced, everyone thought the teller would be obsolete. But we actually have more tellers than ever now. Why? Well, because the ATM and digital banking as a whole made banking easier and more accessible to more people. Thus, more tellers are needed to help service this new increased banking base. In these charts, you can see how jobs can be repositioned over time instead of lost. You see how we used to be an agricultural-focused economy and have since shifted to a service-based economy. You can also see the drop in administrative assistants, but the increase in computer engineers. This just further shows that as technology changes, people are very adaptable and new skills can be learned. We, of course, hope that these new skills are more productive than the previous ones to help us climb back toward a 2.5% GDP growth rate. As always, feel free to call or email us, and we're happy to discuss further. Thanks for joining us.